The $440 million bug that killed a company in 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes. That's like 2 bathroom breaks and a coffee spill. And yeah, don't let the thumbnail fool you. I tried saving them, but those bugs bite harder than they look. Imagine making more money in an hour than most people see in a lifetime. Balling. You're cruising. You're maybe 2 bug-free deploys away from starting a yacht cult. And then, bam. One invisible bug hits harder than your worst hangover. And in 30 minutes, you lose $440 million. And your entire company falls faster than a dating app on Blackout Friday. Welcome to BugsNutBunny, where billion-dollar mistakes get roasted, and where you learn not to end up like those guys. All right, let's rewind the tape a bit. Knight Capital wasn't some basement startup running on vending machine coffee and broken dreams. Nah, they were Wall Street royalty. By 2012, Knight handled more than 17% of all US stock trading. That's like being the Amazon Prime of buying and selling shares. If you clicked buy on a stock, odds were it passed through Knight's pipes. To put it into perspective, the alternative to Knight was, well, way bigger, scarier sharks. Like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, the guys with private islands and legal teams thicker than phone books. But Knight had a secret sauce: speed. They weren't just the biggest, they weren't the richest. They just moved faster than everyone else, like a caffeinated cheetah with stock options. And at the top of it all, Thomas Joyce. Now see, Thomas wasn't just some suit who lucked his way into a CEO gig. He was a seasoned Wall Street veteran, a guy who'd spent decades navigating financial chaos with the calm dead eye of a Vegas card shark. Under his leadership, Knight had grown into a giant, fast, aggressive, and nimble. And backing him up on the technical side, Steven Sadoff, the CIO, Chief Information Officer. Think of Steven as the wizard behind the curtain, the guy making sure Knight's tech ran faster than a toddler with a stolen iPhone. But even the best street smart CEO, and even the savviest tech wizard, can get humbled by one little thing, a bug they didn't see coming. Now here's where things start to get a bit freaky. See, Knight Capital was trying to stay competitive with a new thing called the Retail Liquidity Program. Basically a fancy way of making sure regular people got slightly better deals on stock trades, instead of getting pickpocketed by high-frequency traders. Think of it like a fast pass lane at Disney, but for your Robinhood account. Problem was, to participate, Knight needed to update their trading software, which sounds simple, right? Just slap in a few new lines of code, maybe reboot the servers, high-five the intern. Yeah, about that. Their MVP, minimum viable product, wasn't just minimum. It was dangerously close to barely stitched together by duct tape and prayer. And somewhere in that chaos, in a rush to be first, they accidentally woke up an ancient, retired software feature, an old zombie piece of code called PowerPeg, which is basically like handing a loaded paintball gun to a toddler and hoping your white walls survive. The PowerPeg code wasn't just bad. It was coded to automatically buy or sell massive amounts of stock at market price, with no breaks. Imagine telling your Roomba, hey, just clean a little, and it decides to bulldoze your entire living room, dog, everything. That's exactly what happened. 30 minutes after launch, Knight Capital had accidentally flooded the stock market with millions of dollars of rogue trades, buying high, selling low, over and over and over like a possessed slot machine. And every second they didn't pull the plug, they lost another $1 million. But by the time they realized what was happening, $440 million was gone in 30 minutes. It was the financial equivalent of opening a bakery, selling all your cupcakes for 1 penny, and wondering why your bank account looks like a murder scene. And that, my little bunnies, is how one tiny overlooked bug can eat an empire alive. All right, let's zoom in on the aftermath. Now, this wasn't a slip of the finger kind of error. This was a full-on shipwreck in the tech world. Knight Capital didn't just lose $440 million, they completely cratered in 30 minutes. The stock market was like, wait, did they just do that on purpose? People were freaking out, trying to figure out if this was a glitch, a hack, or a poorly executed joke. And here's the thing, Knight Capital wasn't just a minor blip. This was a full-blown tech disaster. The type of thing that makes tech founders everywhere break out into cold sweats at 3 a.m. So what happened to the team after the disaster? Well, David Ogg, Knight Capital's chief information officer, CIO, who was in charge of the company's trading systems and tech infrastructure at the time, didn't walk away unscathed. In fact, after the catastrophic $440 million loss, Og was let go from Knight Capital. His oversight of the trading software, where the bug originated, was directly tied to the collapse, and ultimately, the company couldn't afford to keep him around. Now, it's important to note that Og wasn't alone in the fallout. Thomas Joyce, the CEO, was also caught up in the mess. While he didn't lose his job immediately, the board and shareholders quickly
We got to
lost
make sure
confidence
that we
in
work
his
with our
leadership,
counterparties,
leading to
our
his
clients,
departure just
to get
a
the
few
answers they
months
want,
after
and we're
the
pursuing that
disaster.
as we speak.
The company, which had once been a major player in high-frequency trading, never recovered from this blunder, and it was eventually bought out by Getco in a merger. As for Steven Sadoff, the chief risk officer, CRO, at the time, he had a somewhat lower profile in the aftermath. He remained with the company briefly, but was eventually forced to resign as the company scrambled to deal with the fallout and re-establish credibility. The real consequences for Sadoff, though, were more about his professional reputation. As the person responsible for risk management, the fact that he didn't prevent such a colossal failure ultimately made his position untenable. Now, if you're a technical founder or aspiring one, this story serves as a cautionary tale. The importance of robust software and thorough risk management can't be overstated. A single bug, a slight misstep in code, or an overlooked vulnerability can obliterate everything you've worked for. And let's face it, when your company crashes like this, it's not just about losing money, it's about losing trust and potentially your career. It's a harsh reminder that in the tech world, no detail is too small to ignore, and no system is ever completely bulletproof. This could have been you. So, to all the aspiring technical co-founders out there, keep learning, keep building, and above all, make sure your MVP is ready for prime time. Your code, your system, and your leadership could be the difference between success and a $440 million disaster. As Elon Musk once said, failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. But here's the twist. When failure hits, make sure it's not because you missed a tiny but crucial detail. You can fail for the right reasons. Just don't fail because you overlooked the basics. So, my little bunnies, remember this lesson and make sure your MVP is built to last, because when the bugs bite, they don't just itch. They'll take down your business if you're not careful. Smash that like button if you want to avoid catastrophic mistakes. Subscribe for more of these brutal tech lessons. And hey, share this video with any friends who need to hear this. Stay bug-free, folks.